Triple E EDC back again with another knife video. This is the Rough Rider Reserve Razor. This is a part of the Rough Rider Reserve line. It is knife number 1 in the Rough Rider Reserve line, and it was very highly touted coming out. Rough Rider Knives has, you know, a lot of knives between 10 and 20 bucks. They're basically a great starter knife if you're trying to start collecting slip joints. You get to try out a lot of patterns for pretty cheap. I like Rough Rider knives a lot. Smoky Mountain Knife Works is in-house brand, and they really stand behind their stuff. So at 10 to 20 bucks, you're going to get some fit and finish issues on some of their knives, and so they'll always stand behind it. They'll replace them. They'll do whatever needs to be done to make the customer happy, which is great. I love the fact that they do that. Now, this one is a little bit more expensive. This one is $40, and the other Rough Rider Reserve knives are a little higher. They were very highly touted, and they there was very high expectations because they were touted as just being able to rival any other brand of slip joints, you know, not necessarily hundreds and hundreds of dollars slip joints, but, you know, within the regular production market. So let's go ahead and do some size comparisons first before we get into that. And you're going to want to stay tuned because I don't think overall, I'll give you a little spoiler, I don't think this lives up to the hype overall, but this is the GEC Oilfield Jack. This is the Tinker over here, Swiss Army Tinker. And here is a Benchmade Proper. And let's go ahead and two-hand open that bug out since we're doing slip joints. Benchmade Bugout. And here is a CJRB Feldspar 3.5 inch. And a Spyderco Para 3. So you can see it is a pretty decent sized slip joint, but not necessarily larger than a lot of these folders. You know, it's not the size of a full-size folder or even a medium-sized folder. A little bit smaller than that. But let's talk about this knife overall. So the good and the bad. So first of all, the good. The badge on here I love. I love that arrowhead badge. I love the stamp on the blade here. I love the denim micarta here. It feels really nice. It's very nice and polished, but it's very nice feeling. The actual fit and finish on most of this knife is excellent, and really does rival some higher end knives. You know, it's not, I wouldn't say it's GEC level, but it's pretty good. I'm very happy with it, and especially for the price. I think it's a great thing for the price. Now, as far as other things that I like about this, the ergonomics on this are really good. This extra wide opening here actually fits your pinky very nicely, and makes for a really nice area over here for a full grip. So I like that as well. The blade shape on here I really like. You know, this is meant to be it's called like a one-hand jack, I think is what it's called, and it catches on your pocket and actually opens up like an Emerson Wave. So it'll catch on your pocket and you can open it up like an Emerson Wave, which I think is really cool. It was a neat idea for a slip joint. As you can see, this is Rough Rider Reserve number 1. This is in D2. D2 is a good blade steel, especially for, you know, for this type of thing. You usually see things like GEC, you'll have like 1095, which is good, but you know, it does patina a lot. D2 is a little bit more corrosion resistant than 1095, so that's good. It also is a tool steel, so it's going to give you a lot of the same edge retentive properties. I think it might even have a better edge holding than 1095 as well, but probably a little slightly harder to sharpen than 1095, which is very easy to sharpen. I like the swedge up here on the blade shape. I think that looks pretty nice, and the actual shape of the cutting edge is a very useful shape on the cutting edge. So I like that as well. The lanyard hole's out of the way. I don't know that it's necessarily something that needed to be on this knife, but a lot of people love the lanyard holes, and so I don't blame them for putting on here. Although I probably would have rather, you know, like to see maybe another bolster, a small bolster, kind of like this on the bottom end, rather than a lanyard hole. But this is fine. I think it looks good. Let's go ahead and Oh, the price also, the $39.99 is a great price. I think it's a great price for what you're getting here. Now, I did do a review. I have the Rough Rider Reserve number 2, the kayak, and I actually really like that knife. That's even $10 more expensive than this one. But there are some issues with this one, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about what those are now. So let's go ahead and get into that. So first of all, one issue is, as you can see here, I don't know exactly what that is. There's some sort of black mark there. I don't know if that was original on here, but it's definitely there now, and it's not going anywhere. So I don't necessarily love that. That is what it is, but not too happy about that. Is it a big thing? No, but when you're talking about, you know, the fit and finish on par with everything else, with all these other high-end brands, I think that you know, that needs to be something that doesn't happen. There's really two bigger issues. One is with the one-hand jack feature on this doesn't really work. It does work to open it to the half stop, but it doesn't work to open it all the way. So I've tried to, you know, can you do it? Yes, but if I'm being honest, I don't feel comfortable doing it because I feel like every time it gets to the half stop, if I take it any further, because it tends to jump off the pant pocket at that point, I would probably slice my pants open. So don't necessarily love that. I guess it, you know, does make sense that you can open it with one hand until you get to this point. But once you get to this point, you know, there's not a whole lot of options to open it, you know, one hand unless you pull it up. Is it a big deal? No, but as Nick Shabazz would say, it's a deal. A couple of you probably just saw what is the even more, you know, glaring issue here, and that's this. That is not a chip, I don't think. It feels like a roll. I believe it's a roll in the edge. You can see it right there. Where does that roll come from? Well, if you see in here, there's sort of a fatal flaw here, where in the back spring, there's a little ridge in the back spring right here, and when you fold it, that's exactly where this hits, is that little ridge right here. And that ridge, I think, is to accommodate this pin and the moving of the back spring. But however they built it, this hits that. And as a result, you know, this is a very, very ugly design flaw of this knife, unfortunately. They could have made the blade a little bit shorter, and they would have avoided that. But at this size, you're going to hit that. You could probably continue sharpening and sharpening and sharpening and sharpening, you know, and make the blade smaller to the point where that happens, but you're going to alter some of the blade shape a little bit, and you shouldn't have to do that on a knife to fix that type of issue. But this is going to be there. You'd have to sharpen for quite a while to wear away enough steel where that wouldn't be a problem, you know, whatsoever, because as this comes down, it's not just hitting it, it's you know, it can go further than this. So, you know, it's just an issue that I don't expect to see on a knife that's trying to tout itself as being, you know, a higher tier knife. And it creates a huge problem with cutting edge. Knives are meant to cut with, and this is just a huge problem. Now, I've seen other people, I thought maybe it was, you know, just this knife. I actually called them Smoky Mountain Knife Works to exchange it. They were very gracious about exchanging it. There was no issue. But then I saw a couple posts on Facebook about other people with the same exact issue. And then more people chimed in, and then more people chimed in. And I realized, nope, this really is a design flaw. And that's an ugly, ugly, ugly design flaw. And so I called Smoky Mountain Knife Works back up, and I changed my exchange to a return. I'll be returning this. Unfortunately, I feel bad about it. I don't know that I've ever returned a knife. Actually, maybe one other time. One other time I've returned a knife, and I've bought hundreds of knives. But unfortunately, I got to send this back. The design flaw is too glaring, and it's their in-house brand. So I can't recommend this knife. I want to. I like everything else about it. I really like everything else about it, but that design flaw completely kills this for me, and I can't recommend it. sorry, Smoky Mountain Knife Works, sorry, Andy, but just can't do this one. Hopefully they'll fix this issue in future iterations of this, because I would love to purchase one that doesn't have this issue. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. I don't like doing negative reviews, but, you know, I never shy away from doing them. I always want you guys to have accurate information, which is why you should subscribe, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know if you've had these issues with this knife, or if you would, you know, would that be a fatal error with this knife for you? Would you return this knife if you got this error? Drop a comment, let me know. So go ahead and like this video if you found it helpful, and thanks so much for watching.